You're listening to the Real Estate Entrepreneur Podcast with Terrence Murphy, where we cover sales, investing, and entrepreneurship with an emphasis on real estate. Each podcast, Terrence and his guests will bring you informative and inspiring information within the real estate industry.
Welcome to another episode of Real Estate Entrepreneur with Terrence Murphy. Wanted to just jump on here real quick and just drop a quick episode on something that has come up for entrepreneurs and leaders. And I think it's really something that we need to talk about. It was really something that as I was really trying to understand leadership and relationships and why does that matter and why is it so important? If you're going to be an entrepreneur, if you're going to lead a family, if you're going to lead a team, if you're going to lead an organization, if you're going to start a business, you're going to have to be involved with relationships. And so I got this vision the other day, and it only came from God, to be truthfully honest. And it really helped me kind of like tie in like the disconnect that I was feeling in that moment. And God showed me a summit. So like if you think about a mountain, just the elevation of it and the height of it, when you're on the base of that mountain, when you're standing flat on the ground, it's a high place to go. And it's going to take struggle. It's going to take a lot of things to get there. But what I've learned is it's tough to get to a summit on your own. And so what kind of people are you putting in your inner circle? What kind of people are you hiring? What kind of people are you putting in leadership? What kind of people are tied to what you're trying to do, like your mission? Because you have to have a mission in order to go anywhere in life that's called a summit. And most people who know anything about mountains, like the summit is usually like some up to 8,000, 9,000 feet in the air. So it's not like you're just going up a one flight of stairs. Like it's a distance. And so what really hit me is, you know, when you're a leader, you got to really look back and understand who's tied to your harness. Because if you know anything about mountain climbing, and I know nothing, but I do know the concepts, most of the time when you're practicing, you're tied to a rope. And when you tie to harnesses, you usually tie to someone else, right? So someone else is tied at the hip. And there was just a couple concepts that came to mind. And I just thought, like, if I'm going towards this summit and I'm trying to get to this Mount Everest of a business or of a vision, of an impact, of success, whatever is driving you to get there, like whatever it is, you got to know who's tied to you and who's on that journey. Because if I'm climbing this mountain and we're now on the mountain, I don't have time to look back and look down to see if you're doing your part. And so there's a couple things that, you know, when we're on the ground, we're all standing there. I get on the base level. I'm the only one on the mountain. And that's why it's so hard for businesses to succeed. I think it's like 82%. It may be higher than that, but it's between 75 and 85% of all small businesses fail within the first couple years. And it's because that entrepreneur might have the ideas, he may have some vision, some systems, but if he doesn't put the right people in place quickly, or the right systems in place quickly, or the right accountability, or the right financial, whatever, he's going to fall off that mountain and it's not going to be good. And so what I've learned is as I try to lead, I got to know who's on the harness. I got to know who's like doing their thing. And if you are the person that's on the harness with me or that leader, you have to make a decision. You got a couple of decisions you got to make. One, I can choose to prepare because it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're going to climb a mountain, if you're going to run a 5K, you don't just show up the day of a 5K and run it, right? Like, yeah, some people do stupid stuff like that, but the majority of people prepare ahead of time. They try to get their body ready. Like I didn't just run on Kyle Field in 100 degrees and go get knocked on my ass. Like I had to actually get prepared. I lifted weights. I was ready. And so people that are on the harness of an entrepreneur, a visionary that's driving forward, you got to decide a couple things. One, are you willing to prepare and put yourself outside your comfort zone in order to do your part to make sure that the team keeps going up another level? Two, you see people who make a decision that They're not really there for the mission. They're not really there for the journey. They're just really there to be selfish and be carried. And you find out real quick because you got to remember, the person that's right behind the visionary that's on the harness also has a person behind them. And then that person's behind them. So if someone's not carrying their weight, they're not really believing in the journey, it's going to be very apparent to the person carrying them at the top and the person that's below them. And so you got to make a decision. Like if you're not there for the right reasons, you're just going to be dead weight. And so you see those people who are there, they're not really focused. They're not committed. They're not loyal. You can't really trust them, but they're just there. And they got a decision to make. They can unharness themselves and jump off the mountain and commit suicide or whatever. And that sounds terrible. I'm not trying to be funny about that. I've had family members do that. And I went through some seasons of my life when I was in depression that came up. So I'm just saying from a business mindset, that means they can commit suicide and quit, like get off the journey. But they can also say, you know what? I've gone as far as I can go and I need to stay here. And that's okay. Like you're still on the journey. You just unharness and say, hey, I'm going to catch y'all on the way back down. I can't go any further. I've pushed myself to my limits and I have nothing left in the tank and I'm comfortable at this level. But you have to communicate that. The other option is you can just choose to quit, unharness, jump. The third one would be you don't choose to quit. You don't even choose to just step off at that level. You don't make any decision. And you guys know the higher and higher you go towards that summit in business and in life and in whatever it is, the air is going to get thinner. And that's when you see people's nose start bleeding. They black out. They're just not ready for the heights in which the vision is going. And if you don't communicate, we're going to look back. And it's like, what happened to Murph? He's slumped over. And now we're carrying him up the mountain because he didn't communicate with us that he needed to get off at level 3 or that he probably needed to unharness and jump and just be done. Because this team, this group is going in a direction that he doesn't see himself being on that journey. But the one that's the most important is I'm going to choose to prepare, stretch myself, push myself, and I'm going to help carry my weight so that we, the visionary, the team, all of us can keep going up. Because the higher we get, at some point, we're all going to get to the summit together and we can all celebrate and say, we did this. That's where you see some of those businesses that have grown to amazing heights because they put together the right nucleus of people that are all carrying their weight and really going and achieving amazing things, making great impact. And yeah, financially, those people all did well. But more than anything, they have, because the other thing about it is they have a group of people that they can trust. Because you don't achieve any summit in life by yourself. And you don't achieve any summit in life with people you can't trust. Like, it's got to be people that you can trust and know that's going to help you get there and do great things. And so as we think through that, what that looks like, you just need to be looking in the mirror. You need to be looking at the people around you and asking them those hard questions like, are you with me or not? Because I would much rather know you're not with me on the base, not like once we're up at the summit. Because remember, the hardest job is that person out front. Because remember, that person is putting their hand on the rock first. That person's taking the most risk of failure. And if that person falls at the top, who's tied to everyone else below, everybody's coming off the mountain with her or him. And so they got to be very strategic where they place their hand, where they place their foot, because if they don't do it right, they don't do it correctly, then you don't have a path to follow up the mountain. And so now I got to strategically put my hands, or you got to strategically put your hands in the right place to stay away from landmines on the mountain. And you got to create vision, because now the person leading has to be looking up. That person has to be looking forward. That person cannot be looking behind saying, hey, are you guys still with me? Hey, are you guys still going? Hey, you guys, I got to know that the people on that journey, the higher I get, the harder it's going to get, aren't going to quit. They're not going to black out on me. They're not going to give up and be dead weight. They're going to keep growing. Because every level, the person at the front of the harness, right, of the mountain, when that person goes up a level, now the next person that's on the base has to get on the mountain and start doing their job. And before we know it, everybody's on the harnesses on the rope. You can't let go of the rope. You have to hold on to the rope. Or let us know at the base, hey, y'all, I'm looking at that journey y'all about to take. I'm not interested in going on that journey. Like, I don't want to be a part of it. And that's cool. It's all love. Tell me now. But don't get on the mountain and unclip and jump. Or don't get on the mountain and just quit and say, I'm going to be dead weight. Y'all got to carry me. Be willing and ready to grow and push yourself if you're going to go on that journey. And I guarantee you, there's some of y'all out there right now that are knowing that you're one of those people on someone's harness and you're not being real. Like, you haven't really been real with yourself or them and say, you know what, T? No disrespect. It's all love. You're going to heights that I don't even want to be a part of. Cool. Like, I had teammates that I grew up with, and I told them, man, I'm going D1. I'm going D1. Well, y'all heard it before. We went 1-19 in 2 seasons at my high school at Chapel Hill. And I'm running around telling people I'm finna go to a major university and go on a football scholarship. But I knew in order to get off that base and start climbing that summit of a football career and of an education, it was going to require me to sacrifice, prepare, and then go to heights that the air is really thin up here at the top. And not everybody can go on that journey. But some people made a decision. At least they told me at the base, man, I'm not interested. I ain't doing that. I'm going to go do this on the weekends. I don't want to be out there running at 10 at night on a Friday with you, man. I'm not interested in that. Cool. My rope, my harness, my group of people was very small, but the people who stayed on that journey with me, one of my best friends ended up going to Arkansas the year after me on a full ride football scholarship. My cousin, 2 years later, went to UT, University of Texas. We call it TU at A&M, on a full ride scholarship. I came to Texas A&M on a full ride. And there was a trickle effect that the people who actually were on that journey of vision that we created as 15, 16-year-old kids have all their lives have been changed from that college experience. So if you're leading that vision and you're carrying people up the mountain, turn around and evaluate who's with you. And if you're someone that's on a journey with someone, be honest with yourself. If you don't believe in the vision in which they're going, get off. Don't waste their time or yours, because you will find your group. You will find your vision to go to a summit. It just may not be that one. So I wanted to put that out there. And if it's not really tying into entrepreneurship, it's more of a visual thing. And it's more of it's a concept that God really gave me a couple weeks ago. And I'm still diving into it. I'm still digesting it. But what I will say, at this point in my life, playing football, being in business, these life experiences have shown me, like, I can only go as far as the people around me can assist me and help me get to. And I can only go as far as my vision will take me. So if I can't envision it, I'm never going to get to that summit because I'm too busy looking behind me to see who's with me. Last thing my Pastor Danny always says is, he's my pastor in College Station. He says, if you ever see a turtle on a fence post, you know they didn't get there by themselves. Somebody helped put them up there. And so we just got to decide, what is our vision? What is our summit? It doesn't even have to be in business. We're just talking, we're a business podcast. It can be, I want to be an amazing dad to my children. And I want to do that. I want to be an amazing husband to my spouse, or I want to be an amazing wife to my husband. I want to create a nonprofit that feeds this many people. Those are summit type ideas. And I guarantee you, like, I know a guy who's a friend from college at A&M. He created a nonprofit that digs wells in third world countries that don't have clean water. Like, he did not get to that summit on his own. I know all the people that's involved with Chris and what he's doing to dig those wells, to give people fresh water in these third world countries. And it's not just him. There's a lot of people on that journey. Now, it started with him. So all I'm saying is when you're thinking about who you are, what you want to achieve, you're either on someone's journey or you create your own. But either way, you got to know who's on that harness. And you got to know that you can trust them and that they're doing their part to stay on that harness and not let go of the rope. Because at any point, the higher you go, the more risk there is, the more weight you got to carry, the more people that have to be on your rope. And you got to create that culture and you got to create that accountability as an entrepreneur to make sure that doesn't get out of whack. With something on my heart, I wanted to drop it real quick, but thank you guys for supporting the podcast. It was just a new venture for me. It was a way for me to try to give back to people, hell, and give back to myself. And just talk to sharp people about real estate, development, investing, entrepreneurship, and really try to create a community of people who did not want to be segmented to just only be something. Like, I'm not just a realtor. I'm not just a builder. I'm not just a developer. I'm not just a property manager. I'm a real estate entrepreneur. So thank you guys for everything. Keep your heads up. Keep pushing. Figure out who's going on a summit with you. What is your summit? You need to know what your summit is. And stop making excuses for wanting to be successful. Like, who cares if somebody doesn't agree with your dreams? It's called your dreams. I don't need you to agree with my dream. It's called my dream. So, like, what is your dreams? What is your summit? Go get it. Get after it. Make it happen. No excuses. God has given you vision. He's given you gifts. He's given you the tools. Now you just got to put together the team to go create it and go after your summit. God bless y'all. Keep your heads up. Keep running.
Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of The Real Estate Entrepreneur with Terrence Murphy. Please subscribe on whichever platform you are listening and consider leaving a 5-star review, as that will help us gain traction and continue to bring you knowledge in the real estate industry. For more content, head over to terrencemurphy.com.